everyone. Welcome to the channel. This is Eve Moliva, human species coach. Topic of the day: how to cultivate strong self-image, self-love, and how that strong self-image is going to influence your life experience. This video is goes into more detail from a previous video I made about the importance of for young child to create an environment that is welcoming and very supportive so that the child can build a strong self-image and an image of the world around him. If that's not the case, and usually a lot of environments where you see an adult that is present themselves as very timid or very shy, a lot of time we can go back and trace it back to the environment in which they grew up. I'll give you an example. A child can be born with a big head, and I gave the example of maybe the parents are calling the child the nickname because of the head, the globe, and then the child goes to school and people at school keep pushing that button, calling the child big head. Over time, the child start to have a stained self-image because of the response that he's getting from people around him, and that child grows up with that, believing that because they have a big head, something is probably bad with them, and maybe they would experience the first time they want to date somebody and they get rejected, they're probably going to feel like it's because of their big head or something. So that staying image starts from a very young age, and the child, it's happening very at the subconscious level, where the child has accepted that because they've constantly been reminded of the big head, and they've accepted that reality, and more often than not, it's usually that it's not something that they're excited about, and that is what creates that stained image of the self, and growing up with that image, the child become an adult and they really step into the world from this position of I would say weakness and weak self-image, and that shows off in a way that they interact with other human beings, in a way that they show up being shy and being timid. So this stained self-image could be corrected even as an adult. It's never too late, I believe. And this video, we're going to go into details exactly what to do to strengthen your self-image so that you can experience this life as an adult from a position of strength and confidence. Obviously, it took years for the stained self-image, to years of conditioning for the stained self-image to become part of who you are and to manifest itself as an adult. And for the change to happen, we also have to understand that it's going to need some time and it's going to need some practice. This is almost like a muscle. Cultivating the self-love is almost like a muscle, and you go into the gym and you need time for that muscle to become strong, because what we're doing with the wiring is just changing the way we're looking at ourselves. And when we're looking at ourselves from a position of more loving and supporting and encouragement, we start to actually build this self-love that is necessary for you to maximize your potential as a human being. So even myself, I will give an example. I think the concept of self and even self-love was very foreign to me until recently, because my entire life I was trained to kind of see the world as just others, basically. Almost like I didn't exist, or I existed in silence, me and my thoughts, right? So my training was, even in I come from a religious background, and even in church, they always say, love others be nice to others, be nice. And more recently, I became more focused on the self, and I discovered that the self within me is also important. All of a sudden, that existence in silence, it's almost like the self came out the closet, and I realized there was someone in there that also needed, almost like an inner child that's always been there, but it needed to be taken care of. All right. And that's when kind of started my relationship with myself. And it made me understand that the relationship with yourself is probably the most important relationship that you will ever have. More important than the relationship with your parents, more important than the relationship with your friends, more important or just as important as the relationship with your child. So understanding the self is understanding that person that's always been there within you. And now it's the time to reconnect with that person. From all the scars and the stained image that you have with yourself, it's time to make peace with it. Once again, for the child that has a stained image because, let's say, big head from a childhood, deep inside that child doesn't like his big head. That's why he's a little bit upset or mad that he has that big head, especially from the response that he gets from others. That person wish they didn't have a big head so that they can be more loved by others. And the person that actually take the punching and all that is the self. So scars have been shaping within the self because the self has been rejected by others since childhood. The self have also been rejected by you since childhood. And that's when the scars is even deeper. With the understanding of the self and understanding of the relationship you have with yourself, you understand in this scenario that you can reconnect with yourself and start showing love to yourself. And yes, you don't have control over others. They could still reject the self, they could still call you big head. But this time you are reconnecting with yourself and you start to not reject your big head, but no, you start to embrace it and it starts with daily practice that you can start when you wake up for 5 to 10 minutes before you go to sleep. All right, pick 10 things and say beautiful things about yourself because only by changing that image that you have of yourself, by being more loving and more appreciating of who you are as you are, that's when you close that gap. So on a daily, every day, wake up and say 10 beautiful things about yourself. For instance, I am beautiful. I love myself. I am outstanding. My head is beautiful. My face is beautiful. All right. So by training yourself to have that self-talk and by doing it consistently, I say 10 minutes, it doesn't take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. You start to rewire that self-talk that you have conditioned yourself for the past how many years to say more positive things about yourself. And the more you do that over time, you start changing the angle at which you're looking at yourself. And once you start going in that angle, all right, the things that you say nice about yourself, you're really actually going to start to feel them. And once you start to feel them, that's when you are creating that new reality in this world where you actually experience your life as a human being from a position of beautifulness, strength, and love for yourself. Because once you really practice the self love and these affirmations on a daily, and you understand that you have a relationship with yourself and you must protect it, just like you have a relationship with anybody else and your child, you must be there for yourself. Because if you're not, nobody's there, nobody is going to be there for you. So this is a personal thing that you need to take charge, and this is your life that you have in your hands. It's time to reconnect with yourself. It's time to be so loving to yourself like you've never been. Because once you reconcile that, only then you can really start to experience life from this position of power that you deserve. That's all I have for today.